miracle of sound. Alright, welcome back.
And welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. I'm Mythic, your host, and I'm here with Darkness.
Hi.
And Midnight.
Hello.
And we've read the chapters of 45 to 48.
What episode is this?
We don't have episodes.
Yeah. What episode
No.
number is this of Words of Radiance?
We don't have
We
episodes.
do.
No, we don't.
What episode is
What
it?
are we, a TV show?
For
Exactly.
a podcast. What episode is this? What number? What number episode is this for
We are
Words of
episode
Radiance?
69.
Nope. We're on episode 10 of Words of Radiance.
420.
Don't worry.
What
we're gonna
episode are we
replace
on in
you.
total, though?
We're gonna
I
replace
fucking
you
know in
soon.
total.
Why
That's what I
don't
was
you know in
thinking.
total?
In total, we are on 91.
Oh.
That's like nothing.
So what season are we on now?
8.
Season 8.
Yeah, because we're on book 8.
Season 8. Got it.
Season
All right.
8.
Almost did that perfectly.
Almost, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I gave an equally enthusiastic response as you guys always do to me.
Yep. That's why I kept going.
But yeah, so we start this chapter with some drawings of shard plate and shard blades from Shalon. One of them specifically being Sunraiser, which is, I believe, Elikar's shard blade.
Why do they all look like the crab people, though?
What do you mean? They don't look like crab people. They're in, like, fucking armor.
Yeah, they look like crab people, though. They look like they stole the armor right off the crab people.
They definitely don't.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But we
They look like that. They look like that thing from that one video game. I can't think what it's called, though. I'm gonna go find it out while you're talking. I'm gonna go look.
Okay. So we start with chapter 45, Middlefest, which is a 3.5 year ago flashback for Shalon. And she's looking at a green bird, thinking about how odd the creature is. The merchant is calling the bird a chicken, although when Shalon mentions having eaten chicken before, he replies that this is a smart chicken, unlike the ones that people eat. And he shows that it can talk, but it makes Shalon extremely uncomfortable, and she says that it's a voidbringer and will bring the eyes of the unmade upon them.
First off, it's not a chicken; it's a parrot.
It's apparently a chicken. It's a smart
It's
chicken.
a parrot.
Yeah. So to all
people
Rosharans, they only know what they call all birds chickens.
Only know chickens. I know.
It's
but
all chickens.
It's a parrot.
Also, when she brings up the fact that she sees a mink in, I think later in this chapter, all small mammals are minks. So it could have been like a rat, it could have been like a bunny. She calls it a mink.
Cool.
Just so you're aware. Because they're not used to non-crab-like creatures except for in Shinovar. So only the Shin people would probably call this a parrot. Everyone else just calls it a chicken. Because that's the only word for bird they have in like their language, is chicken.
It's not a chicken.
It's a green chicken, it talks!
Oh my god. It doesn't even lay eggs.
Pretty sure parrots do lay eggs.
I know they do.
Like, I'm pretty sure all birds lay eggs. What did you
Not
think?
dodos.
What did you think of the green chicken, Darkness?
Parrot. What did you think of the parrot?
The green chicken.
I was laughing my ass off, because I knew that motherfucker looked ugly.
That motherfucker looked ugly.
Shalon's so horrified that it can talk, too. She's like, it's a voidbringer, it's gonna, like,
No,
bring,
when
like,
she said
death
voicing, I
and
was
pain.
laughing my ass off.
She's like, it's gonna bring the eyes of the unmade upon us. We're all gonna die. The guy's just laughing at her.
I mean, she's not wrong though. That's the thing. It is gonna bring the unmade upon her.
The voidbringers are actually all just birds.
Mm-hmm. No, they're crabs. We've already.
No,
established
they're
it.
wrong. It's actually birds.
But
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
crabs. This world is just infected by crabs.
Yeah, but that's why the parrot's weird, because it's not a crab.
Yeah, they're infected with crabs. So I mean, I know it's very itchy, but
Itchy and scratchy.
yeah.
So Shalon's father calls out to her, and she hurries over to him. She notices how everyone here is from the control of her father's lands and the surrounding areas, mainly Light Eyes, but some Dark Eyes of the first and second Non, who are mainly merchants. Her father and his guards move quickly towards the dueling grounds, and Shalon expects to spend most of the day there, as they had in previous years. Her father then tells her that she needs to be more ladylike and stop gawking at things, as she is 14 now, and they may be looking for a husband for her at some point soon.
Be more
Yes.
ladylike, because I just want to beat women. So
He also says he'll stop bringing her here if she keeps acting like a child. So what do you think about Shallan's father talking about potentially marrying her off soon when she's only 14?
All I have, well, I mean, 14 is usually or used to be the age of,
Yeah.
you know, when people would marry their children off. But so that didn't shock me at all, to be honest. But aside from that, I find it hilarious that this dude who is very abusive to women is trying to tell her to be a woman or to turn into a woman instead of a girl.
Well, he's kind of abusive to everyone, not just women. He's abusive to everyone except for Shallan, at least physically. He's mentally and emotionally
Which is
abusive to her.
weird. Which is very weird. It's almost like there's a, weird relationship here that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, every time he seems like he's gonna get, like, physically abusive to her, he starts looking up towards Mother's soul, and he's like, ugh, I don't know about that.
He sees his late wife in her, huh?
I think it's more about the thing that killed his late wife.
Nah, he killed his late wife, so...
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Not anymore.
So they get to the dueling grounds.
I swear to God, it's going to come to this point where at some, like, near the end of this book, we're going to find out that actually he wasn't that bad or something. Like, this is her perspective, and he really wasn't beating anybody.
Oh, no, he's definitely this bad. This is not just her imagining things. He's definitely
but, like,
doing
what if
things.
she was the one beating people?
Yeah, exactly. What if she's just remembering beating, or, him beating people, but she was really the one that did it?
That would be an interesting
And the
twist.
reason she never got beat, was because he, didn't want to get. He was getting beat, or he didn't want to take her ire.
She was beating him.
No.
So they get to the dueling grounds and meet up with Shallan's stepmother, who Shallan thinks has been beaten at least once by her father and ended up scaring away her last tutor. Another Light Eyes of the same rank as Shallan's family, named Revelar, then comes up to their seating area, and Shallan notes that his nose is missing and had been replaced with a wooden one that is painted black. Revelar then brings out some papers regarding a deal of him buying some cotton from Shallan's father for 1 clear chip a bag. Shallan's father is upset by this, as it would cause him to lose money, but Revelar forces her father into the agreement by mentioning how close he is becoming with the High Prince of their region. Shallan is able to escape the area by herself when Revelar asks if Shallan must be here, though she feels slightly bad for leaving her father alone, as he often seems stronger when she is around. Shallan wants to explore the fair, but she also has assigned herself an important task of trying to cheer up her family. Thus, she first goes to find Aelita's family's sitting area at the dueling arena. She comes up to her, asking if she can get away at some point, and Aelita gives her a note and says she should be able to. So what do you think about Shallan getting Aelita to meet up with Balat?
I'm gonna be deadass honest. I've read all of it, right?
I don't remember that, yeah.
But the name, no, I remember it, but the names are so hard to, like, connect to the people.
Mm-hmm. So Balat is the one who takes off the legs of Kremlings and potentially was doing some arson.
It's the brother, right? And then
the oldest one that's not missing, yeah.
Yeah, the note's going for him from that one girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, like, that's pretty normal, right?
I was asking, like, what you thought about, like, Shallan kind of, like, interfering and, like, kind of being a go-between between Aelita and Balat.
I mean, to be fair, it's like, who else would have... Well, I guess they could have asked, like, a maid or something, right?
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mythic, about Shallan kind of hooking her brother up with Aelita?
I mean, hopefully it works out.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that, I believe in the future, in the first book, when she was writing back to her family, Aelita was the one that was transcribing messages for her brothers. So it seems like they're still together 3.5 years later.
Unfortunately.
Why did you want her brother?
Yeah.
Wait, which brother is that? Which brother's vice
is this? This is the potentially psychopathic brother.
Got it.
I mean, it's not far off from my taste, but
I want the one that's has a gambling problem, to be honest.
Jushu? The gambling and drunkard.
Yeah,
the one that was getting taken.
Yeah, because she's got the brother who ran off to do something important and doesn't speak to them. She's got the psychopathic brother. She's got the brother who's a gambling and drunk person, and then she's got her suicidal brother, likes math.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's got some real messed up family members.
Sure does.
So Shallan then goes off to find her brothers, wandering through the fair nervously past Dark Eyes and 10th Dawn Light Eyes. She wishes to be strong and ends up thinking of her mother briefly, which causes her to dissociate for a while, until one of her father's guards finds her. She mentions to him that she's trying to find the gambling tent, which the guard is not fond of, but he can't go tell on her without leaving her alone.
Her brother.
Well, she doesn't tell him. She's just like, I just want to go to the gambling
I
tent.
know,
He's like,
but she should have said it.
Yeah, because yeah, he's like physically, he's like, oh my god, thank God she was just looking for Balat when they eventually get there. So they end up at the tent, and
She's
Shallan
innocent. Why would she ever want to go there herself?
So they end up at the tent, and Shallan nervously makes her way inside as the guard insists he can do whatever betting she wants for her. However, she isn't here to gamble, but to find her brother Balat, who is watching Axehound fights. Jix, the guard, seems to relax when he sees that Shallan has only come to find her brother. Balat is upset to see Shallan here, but she offers the note to him from Aelita, reading it to him about meeting up at a stream nearby. Balat is confused but seems eager to meet with her, and Shallan mentions that she had seen how he looks at Aelita, which is why she had spoken to her. Balat seems conflicted on whether he should stay at the gambling tent or leave, but eventually decides to go meet with her. Shallan is relieved and follows him out of the gambling tent as her brother hurries off, muttering about what he should speak to Aelita about. So what do you think about Balat choosing to speak to Aelita instead of staying and watching the Axehound fights?
Asshound fights? I thought it was
Axehound.
axe.
Axehound.
Oh, you definitely said as.
I said
interested then, right?
Axehound.
He's interested then.
Yeah, see, her kind of plan's working. She's like, I will distract him from his self-destructive tendencies by finding a girl he likes.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
Is it even working? Did it work?
No.
I believe it is because in the final chapter when we're like 6 months later, or not 6 months, half a year later, because it's not exactly 6 months here, half a year later, like she says that like he's been doing better and talking to her a lot. Like she says like I don't think he's been torturing Kremlings anymore.
I mean, I guess it worked out then.
Mm-hmm.
Whose car is in the background?
That's a card.
Midnight's car.
It's not my car. There we go. Turned off.
Why was your car beeping?
That's not my car.
You literally just turned it off. What
I
do you
didn't turn it off myself. I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, it turned
You
off."
said, there you go, turned off.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
wasn't
Turned
my
off.
car.
Exactly what I heard too.
Shallan then makes her way back to her father and sees that he is meeting with someone new now. The man almost drops his cup when Shallan comes up to them and seems quite nervous. Shallan asks her stepmother who the man is, and Melise replies that he isn't anyone important, but he had said he had worried about Shallan's eldest brother, even though he had no proof about him. Shallan then sees the man pour some sort of powder into his drink, downing it in one gulp before leaving. So first of all, did you figure out during this chapter who this man was?
Nope. Also didn't really give a shit.
Wait. Who was it? Like, what the situation again?
So it's the guy that is talking to her dad about Hellerin, and then later talks to her about the two blind men.
Isn't that like...
It was Wit.
It was
the whole
Wit.
time.
Yeah, I was gonna say him.
Yeah, so it's Hoyd. Hoyd
I don't know who it was, but
is hanging out.
like,
Do you know what he was putting into his drink? Can you guess? What do people in the Cosmere put in their drinks?
no
It's
clue. I
powder.
don't remember, to be honest.
Drugs.
It's allomantic metals, I'm pretty sure.
He's trying to make her father an allomancer? What?
No, he put it into his own drink. She thinks he's going to poison her
Oh.
father, but then he puts it into his own drink and drinks it.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure he's taken the Lerasium bead at some point between this point and when he left the Mistborn place, Scadrial. And so he's obviously, and I believe, like, you know, when he's pushing her to, like, relive the scene that she wants to see later on, I'm pretty sure he's using emotional allomancy on her. Yeah, he just downed some metals. So Shallan tries to ask her father about Hellerin, but he refuses to speak of him, and instead claims he only has 3 sons now. He then asks Shallan to check on her brother Wickham. I only have 3 sons. Balat is now non-Balat.
Oh, that's how we got that name.
Yep, that's how his name changed. So yeah, he asks Shallan to check on her brother Wickham, as he stayed in the carriage, and he isn't sure how he'll react if he goes to speak to him. Shallan agrees and goes off to the carriage. Wickham seems to know about Shallan's plans to try and cheer everyone up, but he says that she won't be able to fix their family. He asks her about her plans for Jushu, which is apparently to try to get him to watch the duels, as he's interested in dueling. Wickham doesn't think that Shallan will be able to find him, though. He then asks what Shallan has for him, and she brings out math problems regarding predicting high storms. She has translated a bunch of text into glyphs so that he'd be able to do it, but Wickham criticizes how much time she spent on it. So what do you think about Shallan's attempt to help Wickham?
I mean, Shallan's
Wait,
always
wait,
a
wait.
nice person, even though she
Which-
shouldn't be.
Honestly, yeah, she's like the fix-it-all for all of them, but also she kind of fucked it up in the beginning, so it makes sense, but whatever. Which one is this one?
This is the suicidal one who's depressed all the time.
The one with the leaf, right?
Yeah, the one with the leaf later.
Okay. Interesting. That's great.
Yeah, she gives him math to cheer him up. So
That
Shallan-
would literally that would be my final straw if she gave me math.
Well, she obviously wouldn't give you math. She would do something else for you. He apparently enjoys math.
It's weird. No wonder he's that way.
So Shallan ends up hurrying out of the carriage as she tries not to cry, although she fails to stop her tears. As she sits on a rock crying, the man that had brought news of her brother appears. He asks about the word axe hound, as he isn't sure if people know what hounds are here, although Shallan doesn't know why that matters. As he comes to sit next to her, Shallan begins to back away, but he insists he can't harm her. She then asks about her brother, and the man says that her brother is doing important work, and had asked him to come tell their father that he has eyes everywhere, because he had been traveling in this direction. Shallan had assumed the man's primary purpose was to come talk to her father, but the man just says that it seems it was his purpose to speak to them after all. The man then asks if Spren speak to Shallan, causing her to think of lights going out, twisted symbols, and her mother's soul in a box. She replies that Spren do not speak to her, and the man asks more questions, such as if spheres go dark when she is nearby. Shallan brushes off the questions and starts to leave, but the man points out that her brother is doing the math problem she left him. Shallan feels warmth as she can just barely make out that Wickham is smiling. So what do you think about Shallan repressing her thoughts about the cryptics here?
She's
That really
repressed a
helped.
lot in general.
Yeah, I'd say that really helps her out later, don't it?
Yeah, she's like, I don't talk to Spren. Definitely haven't been seeing weird, strange symbol head creatures. And then later on, she's like, oh yeah, I've just started learning to do this pattern. And he's like, no, you haven't. Just dissociate. Definitely the first time she's ever met a cryptic is pattern, just like right there in last book. Definitely the first time.
I mean, it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely she never as a kid saw a cryptic before.
Never.
Never. The man then begins a story about two blind men contemplating whether they can appreciate beauty or not because they are blind. One of the two blind men insists that you cannot
That was the greatest part of this entire thing.
You enjoyed it with stories?
These two talking about beauty as if it's some subjective thing.
One of the two men insists that you cannot experience true beauty without seeing, but the other mentions hearing music and feeling sculptures and tasting food. However, the first man asks if all of your senses were taken away and all you had was pain, if you could still experience beauty. Wit then asks Shallan what she thinks, and she replies that if the pain changes day by day, then beauty would be the days that the pain is less. So yeah, what do you think about Hoyd's story to Shallan?
Great story. Also, kind of makes me wonder if you can take away, you know, beauty and shit from people.
What do you think, Darkness, about the story?
This is the part where she's like, oh, but what if this and this, right? Like she's always like talking, essentially trying to make a point.
She's not. Wit's kind of going back and forth as the two blind men doing that. It wasn't Shallan saying that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was
she
two
talked.
blind
I
men.
thought she spoke.
I swear she spoke. Yeah.
The only time she speaks is she says that she asks if like the pain changes day by day, and he says
Oh,
yes.
no. This is. I remember why I thought that she spoke when he was. It's because it was the part where he was like
Something about
like what's your version of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that after that.
I find that part more interesting in this story. Not gonna lie.
Okay, we can go into that then first. So the man then asks Shallan what she considers the most beautiful. At first she says a painting, but the man replies that she is lying. Shallan then says the most beautiful thing would be her mother, still alive, and her parents and her 4 brothers are all in the garden, and her father is laughing. She says
So now that you say he's manipulating her emotions and shit, it makes me kind of second guess like the way she blurted all that out.
Yeah, so basically, I think he elementally pushed her into revealing things, because he's trying to push her into her powers, because she, like, basically light weaves the scene a little bit here, I believe.
Honestly, that makes me hate Hoyd a little more, but, you know. All good.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets...
doing exactly what they were talking about as a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets startled when he first meets her, because he can, like, feel that she has a spren with her. Like, he can feel that she's, like, started, like, gaining her powers. Which is why he, like, shows up to her later. He's like, I want to find out how far she is into this. So yeah, he's kind of being a bit selfish here and asking her about all this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Shallan says, everyone's in the garden. Her father is laughing. She says that the people who her mother knew...
I'll be right back. I still hear you, but I'll be right back.
She says that the people who her mother knew never came to their home, and her mother loves her and teaches her philosophy and drawing. The man pushes more, and Shallan describes the scene in more detail, what her father's laugh is like, and what her brothers are doing. The scene becomes real to her, and the man was holding out spheres that wisped stormlight. Shallan backed away, and the man states that she doesn't truly understand the nature of lies yet. He says that the shards here are strict. Shallan asks if the man can help, but he replies that he can't, as she is not yet ready. He then tells her that her brother is in Alethkar, and if he sees him again, he will give word of Shallan to him. Shalon watches the man leave as she realizes she doesn't even know his name. So first of all, what do you think she means by the people that her mother knew had never come to their home?
Right, back just in time for you to ask that question. Can you ask it one more time, though?
What do you think Shalon means by the fact that she says she wishes that the people who her mother knew had never come to their home?
Well, I thought it was the.
I was gonna say the Nightbloods, the Ghostbloods.
Yeah, the Ghostbloods. I thought it was the Ghostbloods. So.
So you think her mother was involved with the Ghostbloods first, and that's how her
I
dad
think
got
her
involved
mother
with them?
was a Ghostblood, to be honest.
So you think like kind of like the mom, the dad, and like her eldest brother are all kind of like involved with the Ghostbloods?
Yep, pretty much.
My
It's
God,
a family business.
she's a legacy.
Now she's gonna be a part of it too. So.
Also, do you think Shalon's mother didn't love her, considering that part of her
Yes.
like dream was that her mother loved her?
I feel like she doesn't think her mother loves her, which I mean, more trauma.
What do you think, Darkness?
Nah, her mother loved her.
Think so?
Do you think so?
This
I
little
think her
line
mother
makes me
loved
think that her
anybody.
mother did not love her.
I don't think her
Nah,
mother loved anybody.
Sounds like her mother
She
has some
loved her the
shady shit
most.
going on.
That's some shady shit.
Also, what do you think about Shalon being able to light weave a bit all the way back this long ago?
well, that just tells us that the freaking pattern thing was there already.
I mean, Pattern keeps telling her, but the past, Shalon, you've done these things before. And she's like, la 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 la, I can't hear you. Also, why do you think Hellerin is in Elethkar? Do you think it's just Ghostblood business, or do you think he has something else he's doing there?
Well, considering that you asked the question in the first place,
Whoa.
Well, because
our
she's confused that Hellerin's in Elethkar, and like, because it's like, yeah, your brother's in Elethkar. And she's like, what the fuck is he doing there?
okay, but why wouldn't he be there?
Yeah, right.
Because they're from Yakaved. I
Why wouldn't he be there though?
don't know. She's just like, why the fuck did he go there? Like, she doesn't know the reasoning why he would leave the country.
He definitely
Away
has
from-
business, regardless. So.
Get away from her, that's for sure.
No,
That's
she's like his
crazy.
favorite. He's the one who keeps telling her to do the drawings and like brings her sketchbooks
Maybe he's
and
just
stuff.
using her. You don't
Yeah,
know that.
Do these drugs, Shalon.
Drawings, not drugs. Gosh. So then we
Drug my sister, guys.
move to chapter 46, Patriots. And our epigraph is, when Simmel was informed of the arrival of the Edge Dancers, a concealed consternation and terror, as is common in such cases, fell upon him. Although they were not the most demanding of orders, their graceful limber movements hid a deadliness that was, by this time, quite renowned. Also, they were the most articulate and refined of the Radiance. From Words of Radiance, chapter 20, page 12. So what do you think about the Edge Dancers and how they are described?
They're dancers. That ass.
Very graceful, but also deadly, apparently.
They seem like the one guy from Elantris.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It reminds you of the Elantrians.
No.
Oh
it
no,
might be
sorry,
the
you're
one
talking about the
One
guy,
from
like, the
Elantris
really
who
popular
could dance
guy.
and do-
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones whose hips don't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one who like his like magic from his country was through like dancing.
Yes.
He did like the weird hand movements when dancing.
Yep, that guy.
I forget his name. I think it started with a J.
Non-Balat. His name is
No,
Non-Balat.
it wasn't non-plot.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Totally Non-Balat.
Uh-huh.
Because he's not Balat.
So we switch to Kaladin's point of view as he appraises Bridge 17, noting how far they've come and complimenting them, even though they weren't exactly perfect yet. He thinks it'll have them start on the patrols with the other two bridges that were doing well. Kaladin also knows that this group has bean curry every night, seeming to express their individuality through their evening meal choice. Kaladin then wanders over to Bridge 18, who aren't mingling well as a group and don't seem to care much for Beak soldiers. Kaladin thinks that he'll have to try to work with them more in the chasms, and if they still don't shape up, he'll have to split them up and put them into the other bridge crews. So what do you think about Bridge 17 and Bridge 18?
Way better than Bridge 4.
For the bean curry over the stew?
Yep. Way better than Bridge 4.
I don't know, Bridge 4 keeps accumulating more Herdazians, and the Herdazians are pretty cool.
Which one are the Herdazians?
Lopin
Lopin,
and his cousins.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're like the Latinos,
He's like, I got all
basically.
these cousins, like,
I'll bring out my cousins! Gancho!
gancho.
Jesus loves the Herdazians. Feels a kinship with
Oh,
them.
Oh.
They feel very Latino.
Mhm.
They do.
Yeah, that's why Darkness.
That's why his name is
also-
Lopez, not Lopin.
Okay. Puño and Julio.
Lopez.
That's Julio and, like, let me not say the other one because that's a bad word.
Puño?
Wow.
So as Kaladin makes his way to Bridge 19, Syl comes up to him and tells him he should be eating and resting. Kaladin, however, brings up the countdown that seems to be leading to the weeping, and also brings up the red spren that Syl keeps seeing. She agrees that she's still seeing them sometimes, like they are watching her. Kaladin eventually gives in and makes his way over to the rest of Bridge 4. He notes that Hobber, with his non-working legs, was serving the stew with Rock, who's looking over him proudly. Kaladin pats him on the shoulder, and then he notices Renarin eagerly doing dishes as he does every night, although he still stays on the outside of the group. So what do you think about Hobber's new part in Bridge 4 as kind of like Rock's assistant?
I mean, they're always building a system, so I mean, it works out, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts about Hobber, Mythic?
Sounds like Hopper. Makes me think he won't be around long.
Also, what do you think about... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We know for sure they're going back to war anyway.
Well, we know
It's been
something's
a while
happening.
since we've seen the battlefield.
Yeah, well, Dalinar's not been going out onto the battlefield, and I think thus Kaladin's not been going out, which is why we haven't really been seeing it. There's been a couple bridge members accompanying Adolin, but they don't fight.
But I mean, they're training for that in general, so it's gonna happen.
Also, what do you think about Renarin sticking around still? Just hanging out, Bridge 4, awkwardly.
Oh, him! I mean, he's lasting, you know?
Yeah, I would say he wanted to be a part of the group. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he be here?
Yeah. You guys like that Renarin's
like
joining
he's
Bridge
a spy.
4?
Nope, I feel like he's a spy.
Oh.
Darkness likes Renarin, which means Renarin will die.
Yeah, that's why, exactly. That's why I don't want to like Renarin.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
You've already accepted it, that any character you like will die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kaladin then notices the 3 Herdasians in Bridge 4 uniforms, only recognizing one of them as Punio. Lopin from nearby says that they are cousins and introduces them as Rod and Huyo. Kaladin
Rod
gets
and Julio.
Huyo. And there's no L. It's H-U-I-O.
Julio! It's totally Julio. It's Pedro and Julio.
Oh my gosh, Pedro and Julio. Kaladin gets his own bowl of stew before going off to find Shen, who is in the storage room. He calls Shen to attention, and Shen quickly stands up straight, and then Kaladin tells him to go to ease before saying he spoke to Dalinar, who said he could arm Shen if Kaladin trusted him. Kaladin then says he does trust Shen, and he hands him a spear, and he apologizes for being afraid to do so before.
Such a dumbass idea.
Kaladin continues on, explaining that Leighton and Atam practice in the mornings, and Shen could join them to not be lumped in with the new recruits. Shen stares at the spear reverently before calling Kaladin a good man. He starts to say something else, but Moash calls out to Kaladin, and when Kaladin prompts Shen to continue, Shen just says he'll talk about it later. Kaladin then heads out to meet with Moash, who is wanting to go out drinking, along with a few of the other bridgemen. Kaladin reluctantly agrees, and he and Moash are joined by Rock, Sigzil, Lopin, and Pete. So what do you think about Kaladin apologizing to Shen and giving him a spear?
Terrible idea. Shen's gonna murder them all.
Nah.
Obviously, he's a traitor in the mist, you know. I totally haven't stated before already that...
that you think he's a Parshendi instead of a Parshman?
Well, I mean, I think he's going to become a Parshendi. I think
he's
going to get whatever, ascend into a different whatever. I think he'd be, I mean, honestly, Storm would be the greatest, but...
Is he going to be Storm form like Esh and I?
Yeah, but I still feel like he would be better for the other form. I don't remember what that other one was. The battle one.
War form?
Yeah, that's it. But, one second. Like, right as I was about to talk. Okay. I believe he's going to like vouch for Kaladin. I think about the name of it for a second there. When he does eventually go back, all this is just going to help that case.
What do you think, Darkness, about Kaladin apologizing to Shen and giving him a spear?
I liked it, you know, like accept him.
I loved Shen in the first and second book. I was always like, yes, give Shen the spear!
In the first and second book.
Wait, whoa.
I'm just saying, this is where we're at. I'm saying in the first and second book, I was always a big fan of Shen.
Sure.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm not in further books. I'm just saying I don't want to give away whether he survives or not.
Now I want to say...
well, now we know he dies.
Yeah, now
he probably dies saving Kaladin and some other people. So.
I love Shen. Shen deserves a spear. He's a good boy.
Shen deserves no spoilers.
I'm not giving spoilers.
We deserve no spoilers. Why would you spoil it for us?
I'm not spoiling anything. I'm not letting you know anything.
You literally just said he dies.
Yeah,
I literally did. I said I don't want to let you know if he dies or not.
That he dies.
I definitely did not.
Oh, he dies too? What?
What? Who? What?
Midnight!
I don't even know what you guys are saying anymore. Also, what do you guys think Shen wanted to discuss with Kaladin before he was interrupted by Moash?
Probably how fucking Shen is gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. Can't believe you would tell us that, Midnight. Oh, damn. I feel like what's
Now
gonna
we know
happen at the end of this
Jasmine's
book.
not dead and Shen's gonna die.
What did
Yeah,
you say,
no.
Mythic?
I said I feel like at the end of this book, though, I don't think he's gonna die. I think at the end of this book, though, he's gonna go join the Parshendi or whatever, and then no longer be a part of Bridge Force. So we'll never see him again, really.
I would cry. I'd be very sad. Maybe I have already been very sad. Who knows?
God.
Gosh, she's so spoilery. I don't understand why she does this.
So as they walk, Rock mentions that the others think they can outdrink him, and Lopin insists that he can, because he can focus. They pass by the barracks, and Kaladin sees men working hard or laughing, thinking that they are slowly recovering from the slaughter of Dalinar's men. They then get further into the markets, and Sigil runs off for a moment to get some news from a crier, while Rock and Lopin argue about what tavern to go to. Moash stops the back and forth by choosing a tavern, which Pete seems to agree with. Sigil then returns with chowta, which Kaladin is disgusted by, as he's sure the meat and grain is all Solquest. However, even Rock eats some, with his having Kremlin claws in it. As they get to the tavern, Kaladin notes that it's lit by firelight instead of spheres, as you can't trust drunk patrons to not try and grab a sphere or two. The place was packed with people, and Rock points out Pete going up to a woman working there, with a soft smile on his face. So what do you think about the friendship that is continuing to grow between the men of Bridge 4?
It's gonna suck when they all die.
Yeah, and we know there's gonna be people lost anyway. Shen.
Alright, so as Pete flirts with the barmaid, Sigil asks Kaladin if he thought about where married bridgemen will live. Kaladin had not thought of that, but realizes he'll have to figure it out as they slowly regain normal lives. Rock is apparently married, although his family was still in the peaks, and they were waiting to hear back from them. Teft had been married, but his wife was dead. They eventually are led over to a table by Ka, the woman Pete is interested in, and they begin to order ale, although Rock is upset that they don't have Horn-Eater lager, which Ka says melts their cups. So what do you think
I bet.
So what do you think is going to happen as the Bridgemen slowly gain partners and families?
They're not going to want to go out to war because they have families.
Oh, that is gonna suck.
I mean, apparently Rock's already married. He's got a family, apparently.
Yeah, Rock's weird in general, right? So
I mean, Rock's always been the one who says he doesn't fight anyways, so... So Rock then mentions that the Horn-Eater peaks are actually quite warm, even though they're up in the mountains, and Sigil confirms this as he mentions at the top of each peak is a crater filled with hot springs that warm the area around it to make it livable. Rock then begins to tell the story of his people, how they used to live down here with everyone else, but people were afraid of them for being good fighters. So they went to the gods, not the Spren, but bigger gods, to ask for help. The god of the mountains agreed to let them live there if they could make it hospitable, so they went to the god of the waters and forests to get water and food to make the peaks livable. Rock then also mentions that the water in the peaks is not hot springs, as they are different, as you can sometimes see into the place of gods when swimming in it. Kaladin asks Rock if he can see Spren because he swam in those waters, but Rock doesn't want to go into detail about it. Sigil insists they are just hot springs, but Rock replies that they are hot springs only on the surface, and beneath the surface is the place of the gods. He also says he met a god who came out of the hot springs and looked like an Alethi but with lighter skin. He claims the man was a god of mischief and that he had an angular face and white hair, and the man had asked what year it was. Sigil looks confused, but brushes off Moash's question about whether he is okay. So what do you think about Rock saying that the hot springs can look into the place of the gods?
That was a perpendicularity.
You think the perpendicularity is up in the Horn-Eater peaks?
Yeah.
It's very possible. Sounds like it.
Yeah, specifically that lake thingy or whatever they have.
Mm-hmm. Do you agree with Kaladin that this might be why Rock can see the Spren so much? Because he's like been swimming in this perpendicularity potentially?
And like, it makes sense why they call the other people like all that shit, you know?
Airsick Lowlanders?
I guess.
Airsick Lowlander. You just said Airsick Lowlander.
Also, who do you think Rock saw coming out of the lake?
I wonder who it could be.
Hoid.
Wonder why Sigil, who like learned under Hoid, was like, wait a second. What do you mean he came out of this fucking lake asking what year it was?
White hair?
Couldn't be him.
So the group then begins talking about Sadeas and how he's disrespecting Dalinar and the king's orders about how to do plateau assaults. Kaladin takes part in the conversation sporadically, but mostly thinks about how he wants to do something to Sadeas, but in his gut he feels that it's wrong. Moash eventually nudges Kaladin, saying he wants Kaladin to come to a meeting with him to meet the people who want to assassinate the king, as Kaladin had promised he would. Moash leads Kaladin into a back area of the tavern, and they eventually go into a room guarded by a man who may be Azish. Syl offers him a quiet warning to be careful. Inside the room were 3 men and a woman at a table, along with another guard at the back. 2 of the men and the woman were Light Eyes, which Kaladin thinks he should have expected considering a Shardblade was involved. One of the light-eyed men stands and eagerly welcomes Kaladin, introducing himself as Graves. Moash sits down, and Kaladin slowly does as well, recognizing the woman as one of Dalnar's clerks. The man calls the woman Danlin. So do you remember where we've met Danlin before?
Nope.
So in the first book, Adolin is dating a girl named Danlin, who he gets her a job as one of Dalinar's clerks.
Oh.
So it sounds like she literally dated Adolin just to get into Dalinar's like war camp.
She's a traitor. Kill her now.
She's the one who, like, when he's hanging out with his like other light-eyed friends, she's like, shouldn't you get your dad to like stop doing this and that and like stop following the codes and be more like his old self? Like they're all kind of like dissing his dad and stuff, and Adolin's like, what the fuck? Yeah, so she was in that group.
I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Goodbye.
So Kaladin then pushes Graves to get right into the information, not caring for pleasantries. Graves states that Elhokar is a bad king, and Danlin cuts in, mentioning how she worked for 3 years back in the capital trying to fix all the laws Elhokar put into place before Dalinar got him under control. Graves and Moash insist that with Elhokar gone, Dalinar would be king, even if just temporarily while Elhokar's son grows up. Kaladin says that Dalinar basically already rules, but Danlin replies that Dalinar holds himself back because of his love for his dead brother. Graves insists they only want the king gone in what would seem like an accident, not some big coup that would cause innocents to get hurt or die. Kaladin eventually says he'll consider it, and he leaves with Moash so the others don't get suspicious. However, once they leave the room, Kaladin tells Moash he only said he'd consider it so they could leave. Moash insists that they were right about Elhokar and says he met them through this silent man at the table named Rill, who he used to work with on caravans. Moash insists that this would be best for the country, but Kaladin replies that Moash only cares about his grudge and not about what is good for the country. So what do you think about this group that wants to assassinate the king?
Old news.
No, I would be surprised if the Ghostbloods are actually behind that group too.
As far as we know, the Ghostbloods don't seem involved with this. But they could potentially be like way up, like maybe they are controlling it from the shadows.
Yeah. I feel like we're just involving the Ghostbloods and everything now.
That's true. It's just we don't really know what their, centerpiece is.
I mean,
there are other works at play, because remember, Amram seems to be involved in something that the Ghostbloods are against, and he was worried the Ghostbloods were, like, going after him at one point. So they could also be involved in the same thing as Amram.
Right.
We also know that there's a group of world hoppers called the 17th Shard that are running around, because those were the guys from the first book that were looking for Horde.
17th Shard.
Yeah, it's honestly, I feel like it's just putting all of them together, but yeah.
Yeah, there's at least 3 groups that we know about. The unnamed one with Amram, there's the Ghostbloods, and there's the 17th Shard. All 3 of them are doing something on Roshar. And at least 2 of them seem to be World Hopper groups, since the Ghostbloods also seem to have World Hoppers.
The Ghostbloods are going to be the good ones watch.
Well, I mean, we kind of got a hint on whether if they're going to be bad or good, but...
Did we? I don't remember this.
Well, Midnight was like, we don't really know. Like,
oh yeah, always. But Midnight does it to us about everything, so...
Also, do you think that this group is being honest with Kaladin about their intentions? Like, do you think they really care about the country and just want to get rid of Elhokar so that a bad king is taken down, or do you think they have other, like, intentions?
I feel like it's not just that, honestly.
You think they have other plans?
Yeah.
What do you think, Mythic?
I agree. I think they have other plans, for sure.
So Moash, however, says that Graves doesn't care about people's eye color and treats everyone the same. He even married a Dark Eyes and has a son with 1 light eye and 1 dark eye. Kaladin does consider this, but tells Moash not to speak to him again about the situation. And not to meet with them anymore. Moash seems annoyed as they go back to their table. Kaladin can't help but think about Graves telling him to be the surgeon that this country needed. So do you think Moash will stay away from this group, as Kaladin had asked, or will he continue to meet with them behind Kaladin's back?
I think they're going to keep meeting them, to be honest.
I want Kaladin to make them, like, Dalinar and the people aware of what's happening. But still meet up with them.
Also, I don't remember 100%, but I believe, based on Moash saying that Graves has a son who is 1 light eye and 1 dark eye, I think they're implying that Graves is the father of the guy that met with Shallan's father in the past and accused him of murdering his wife. I think this guy's from Yakaved, Graves. So that might all be connected too.
Yeah.
What's not connected in a book like this? Oh my goodness.
So then we get chapter 47, Feminine Wiles. And our epigraph is, Yet were the orders not disheartened by so great a defeat, for the Lightweavers provided spiritual sustenance. They were enticed by those glorious creations to venture on a second assault. From Words of Radiance, chapter 21, page 10. So what do you think about Lightweavers providing spiritual sustenance to the other orders?
That's what
the whole spiritual thing, you know?
What did you say, Myth?
Lightweaver?
Yeah, Lightweaver is Shallan.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure they're basically just saying here that, like, the Lightweavers basically put on, like, plays or something with their illusions. They're like, ooh, look, I made a movie for you. And everyone's, like, cheered up by it. That's what I imagine. Them basically doing, like, a little, a puppet theater play, but with illusions. So we switch to present-day Shallan's point of view as she looks over some maps. She digs out some more ancient maps from Yasna's trunk that were inaccurate but did show about where the different Silver Kingdoms had been located. She points out that Urithiru on this map was shown in the middle of the mountains, but other maps had shown it in other places. She doesn't understand how the people back then couldn't have known where it had been located. Pattern suggests that maybe they wanted to keep the location a secret, which is why none of the maps agree on a location. So what do you think why do you think the maps don't know where Urithiru is?
Doesn't exist.
What do you think, Darkness?
It's because of every desolation. I feel like it changes the layout.
They change maps every time.
So I think Shallan also notes that, like, a lot of these maps, depending on where they were made, like, it puts it closer to their country, but not within their country's borders. So, like, the ancient Alethi would be like, oh yeah, Urithiru's near Alethkar, and the ancient Azirs people are like, no, it's near Azir. But it's always in, like, the mountains or the hills, apparently. So some of the maps are written in the Dawn chant, and Shallan finds it funny that Pattern is trying to sound them out, until he actually seems to start to be able to translate it. She is shocked and recognizes the original name of Noadon, mentioning to Pattern that the Ardents had given him a symmetrical name to make him more holy. Pattern points out, however, that the name is not symmetrical, and Shallan explains how they'll give a letter an H sound to make it easier to pronounce, which upsets Pattern as he claims that they can't just claim a word to be symmetrical when it isn't. So what did you think about how the symmetrical names work?
I agree with him.
I do too.
They're like, yeah, Noadon's it's a symmetrical name. You just pretend the H is a D, and he's like, that's not fucking symmetry. What the fuck are you talking about? His name should be Nodadon, not Noadon. And she's like, no, it's symmetrical. Trust me. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean it's symmetrical? I find that so funny.
I find it valid. He makes a good point.
But yeah, so that's why they always talk about people's names being like one letter away from symmetry, because like you're supposed to be close to holy but not quite. So Shallan's name is technically one letter away from being holy, because you would assume the H in her name is an N, except it's pronounced as an H. So it's just the S that makes it not symmetrical.
Snan?
Slalon. And so it's written as Snalon, but with a little marker to be like, no, this N is pronounced as an H.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. So yeah, that's her name being symmetrical. So yeah, that was that. I just love how they can explain that symmetry, and I love how upset Pattern gets by it.
Mm-hmm.
So Shallan then says she wants to figure out how much of the Dawn chant the Pattern can translate, but he replies that he can't actually translate it, and just figured out a few words based on the other languages on the map that were obviously based on the Dawn chant. Shallan, however, replies that it's not obvious they were based on the Dawn chant, as no scholar had ever noticed that. The Pattern replies that humans aren't as good with patterns as they are. Shallan then continues to consider ways to get to Urithiru before remembering that in one of the books there was a mention of oath gates and instantaneous travel. She isn't sure how to find this, though, considering how barren the area is, although she is sure Yasna thought there was a way to Urithiru from the Shattered Plains. So first of all, what do you think about how Pattern can partially translate some of the words in the Dawn chant?
I mean, they are patterns. He said he's not translating them.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, because, like, this language is obviously based off the Dawn chant, so, like, I can see that some of this stuff is similar, which is how I can get a couple words. And she's like, what do you mean it's based off of it? They look nothing alike. He's like, oh yeah, they're definitely based on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy that, Mythic? Pattern's translation?
Yep. I mean, I agree with Pattern. So,
also,
based on the Dawn chant.
Also, do you think that there really is instantaneous travel, or do you think that's kind of just like more of a metaphor for something?
Nah, that'd be awesome.
It's called, yeah, there's instantaneous travel. It's called fast travel.
So you think the Oath Gates are like waypoints from like Baldur's Gate?
No, they're just fast travel points.
I mean, that's basically what waypoints are in Baldur's Gate.
No, they're not waypoints though.
So there's suddenly a chime from a clock, and Shallan realizes she only has half an hour before she needs to leave to meet with Adolin. So she hurries to the washroom to get ready. She runs herself a warm bath, extremely happy to have the warm water, and undresses before getting in. She decided to stop caring if Pattern saw her naked, because although he had a male voice, it was silly to be worried about a Spren seeing her naked, when Spren were everywhere. However, she does not like the comments Pattern tends to make, as he is currently talking about the differences in the genders and how he had watched Sebarial bathe recently. He had gone on about this for...
He's not wrong, though, with what he says after that. All she has to do is just draw. He wouldn't have to go watch people.
And she's like, I am not drawing nude models for you, Pattern.
Just do it. God.
Lucky, I thought she was talking about herself.
No, she already shows Pattern herself nude, so...
He'd also gone on about this for a while after Shallan had mentioned how many artists practice drawing
Honestly,
nude
kind of
models.
makes me wonder what Shallan looks like naked, but, you know.
Apparently Shallan had even drawn some of her maids nude in the past after promising to destroy the sketches of them.
See? And once again...
Her main thing is she doesn't want to draw men naked.
Why not?
That's
because it's too embarrassing.
I mean, granted, she's never seen a man naked, so...
Exactly.
Like a virgin ass.
She was very sheltered.
Oh, and then even when the guy was coming on to her, she didn't understand it, and
he was also an artist, so it wasn't like they could do anything.
Nah, he could definitely do something. He
he wasn't really an artist, but she didn't know that.
Yeah, he tried murdering somebody. He definitely could have.
He was trying to keep his cover, so that's why he couldn't.
Yeah, okay.
Shallan thinks about her brothers and how she had sent 2 letters and a span reed in hopes of getting in contact with them again. She wants to have them come here using the money Yasna had sent and abandon their father's estates as they really had nothing there, and it would be safer for them to be here. Shallan then puts those thoughts aside as she gets out of the bath, combing her hair and getting dressed. As she hurries out of the house, she sees Polona getting massage as Sebarial eats grapes nearby, and a woman reads poetry to them. Shallan can't decide what...
Paloma?
Polona.
Yeah, Paloma.
Polona with an N?
I don't know. Why if you said Paloma?
I said Polona. One of the chapter titles is her name.
Paloma?
No, it's Polona with an N.
We're talking about Paloma.
Oh yeah. Shallan can't decide what she thinks of them, although she is determined to fix their house ledgers after seeing how messy they were. So do you think Shallan will be able to get her brothers to the Shattered Plains?
No.
You don't think that's going to work out?
I don't either, honestly.
Oh, I think they're going to die before they get close. Usually how her life, works. So.
I wonder who else's life is like that.
Gaz and Vatha meet Shallan outside the doors, and one of her slaves, N, is working as her footman. He is smiling, which she is happy to see, and asks if he is being treated well, and whether he'd actually tell her if he wasn't. She also asks Vatha how he and the other men were doing, and Vatha just grunts. He replies that he gets bored, but Shallan says most men would enjoy that. The carriage then gets moving, and Shallan closes the curtains and begins trying to practice her light weaving. She doesn't understand why she can't do it without drawing, and Pattern says that she should be able to, but for some reason the drawing matters to her. When she was done drawing, the light weaving took, turning her hair dark. She then asks Pattern how she gets rid of the illusion, and he replies that she needs to stop feeding it. She tries to move the spheres away from her, but she easily still breathes in the stormlight. She says she is quite good at it for how short a time she has been doing this. Pattern tries to refute this, saying she's been doing it longer, but Shallan tunes him out until he is done talking. She then says she really needs to find a new copy of Words of Radiance. Shallan begins sketching Sebarial from a memory she had taken previously. It wasn't the easiest to sketch while in the moving carriage, but she didn't have much time lately outside of helping Sebarial, working for the Ghostbloods, and meeting with Adolin. So what do you think about Shallan tuning out Pattern whenever he tries to speak about the past?
Trauma.
Yeah, very traumatic.
So when she is done with her sketch, Shallan uses her light weaving to make an image of Sebarial. She is impressed with the level of detail of the illusion, but notes that the image is like a statue, and that it won't be convincing until she is better at being able to give her illusions life. She waves her hand through the illusion to try to get rid of it, before realizing that she could suck the stormlight back into herself when her hand was in the illusion. She quickly makes a note about it in her notebook. What do you think about how Shallan can take back the stormlight from her illusions?
So she's like a reusable battery?
Yeah.
Also, if she can do that, can other people just zap the stormlight out of their fucking illusions?
I don't know if people could take it from
illusions.
her illusions.
Why not that? It's just stormlight.
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure about that.
Because like if I was fighting someone who was an illusion based and they used the same energy I did as a freaking power source, that's my first attempt. Yeah.
So as Shalon approaches the meeting spot with Adolin, she thinks that she isn't the ideal woman that an Alethi man would want. She briefly considers improving herself slightly with light weaving, but then thinks that if this marriage goes through, she doesn't want to question whether Adolin likes her for herself or for her lies. Instead, she thinks she'll have to rely on her feminine wiles, at least if she had any.
Yeah, I was like,
Do you think it's good that Shalon isn't trying to change herself for Adolin?
no, I think she should definitely change herself. She's a terrible person.
Wow.
I mean,
Look
she
at
is
how
a mass
she takes-
murderer.
Yeah, look how she takes exactly, and look how she takes care of Pattern. Like, she's definitely psychotic.
Wow.
Not only is she. Wait, you know what I just realized?
Tree, to be honest.
You know what I just realized?
Mm.
And I don't want to bring this up because, like,
Hi.
we've been so far past this already.
Okay.
But like,
oh, we're gonna bring up the murder, the possible murder or not murder justification. Yeah, I knew where you were going with it. Nope.
At this point, it don't even matter to her now, huh?
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know why it mattered to her in the beginning. She murdered enough people.
Oh,
even before that.
I see that part.
The long
lesson.
debate we had.
The
long debate we had.
That's what that chapter was called. The lesson.
Oh, is that what that's called? Chapter's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should have been called the debate. Cause...
so our final chapter is chapter 48, No More Weakness. And it's 3 years ago. So we go back again to past Shalon's point of view as she shows some of her sketches to her brothers. Balak compliments them, saying she's even better than her mother was, although Shalon says that she still needs to work on her proportions for people. It seemed Wickham was doing better lately, as he was often solving math problems. Their father used to get mad at Wickham for it, but the Ardens had stopped their father's rantings, as they hoped Wickham might join their ranks in the future. Wickham asks Balat after Aelita, and Balat confirms that he's gotten more letters. However, he's been getting their stepmother to read them to him, as he doesn't feel that his 14-year-old sister needs to know what is in the letters. Wickham teases Balat a bit, but Shalon stops. But Shalon stops him when it seems like Balat is starting to attract Angerspren. The three of them then joke about love a bit, Shalon making witty remarks, although her brothers tease her that she's barely a teenager, so she doesn't know much about love. So what do you think about her two brothers slowly improving because of Shalon's help?
Isn't that what her thing is supposed to do?
So she might be kind of doing her transformation ability to improve her brothers, like she has in more current times with the slavers and the deserters.
Honestly,
and stuff.
I'm kind of surprised that she did anything to any of them people because she's not that good herself.
Right.
She's just evil. So
that's
why she was attracted to Yasna so much.
So
I'm so annoyed that bitch decided to take a vacation in the beginning of the book.
She's not taking a vacation. She got stabbed through the heart.
I'm surprised that she decided to take a vacation in fucking Shattered Plains or whatever the fuck the place is called. Or not Shattered Plains, the
Shadesmar?
Yeah, vacation in Shadesmar. She'll be back.
Even if she somehow was in Shadesmar, do you think she would even know how
She's
to get back?
She's in Shadesmar. Alright, here's the thing. Even if we go by what we know is not true, and what you say of she's dead, she still went to Shadesmar.
Yeah, I guess her soul
that's
still
true.
go to Shadesmar, whether she has a body left or not. Her soul
Exactly.
is there.
So I'm pretty sure in her infinite wisdom, she went to Shadesmar and then just said, "Oh, all right, I'm gonna take this as a vacation." Kind of like whatever the fuck is it? Kelsier, Keldon? No, Kelsier, right?
Kelsier, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was like, what names?
All the K names.
You know, I believed Kaladin for a second.
I mean, I would believe Kaladin too, but Kaladin seems like a good guy, unlike Shalon.
I like Shalon.
I bet you like Shalon.
I liked Shalon's plot points a lot more than Kaladin's throughout the first couple books. I found her stuff more interesting. All the, secret society stuff, Ghostblood stuff, and the Sealing of the Soulcaster. She was my favorite of the three main characters.
Hated her for a long time.
I did not. I hated Kaladin when the first time I read The Way of Kings for the first half of the book. I'm like, oh my god, he's so depressing and boring. I don't care. Bring me back to Shalon's point of view. I want to know what's going on with the Soulcaster. I literally hated his flashbacks so much as well the first time reading the book. I'm like, we already know basically what happened to Kaladin. I don't care. And then Shalon's flashbacks were my favorite because I was like, oh my god, actually new stuff. She represses everything, so we don't know a shit about her. But yeah, so eventually their conversation stops as they hear a carriage pull up. Black goes up to check on it, and Shalon notes that she is pretty sure Balat has stopped killing Kremlings recently. Wickham stops Shalon from following Balat and tells her that her plan to cheer them up seems to be working, even though he had doubted it previously. He then gives her a pouch of blackbane, telling her to dispose of it as he had been carrying it around for the last year. Shallan is disturbed but takes it from him. Wiccan then goes after Balat as Shallan goes back to drawing. So what do you think about Wickham? The fact that he had been wanting to kill himself, and he tells Shallan this by giving her the poisonous plant.
I mean, like I said, she's just going to use that against her father. I feel like that's how she kills her father. I feel like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So she's not going to dispose of it like he tells her to. She's just going to keep it
Oh
around.
no,
she's definitely not She's definitely not going to dispose of it. That's for sure.
I didn't believe that for a second.
Yeah, there's no way she does that.
Also, imagine giving your 14-year-old little sister like this fucking super poisonous plant. Like, here you go, Shallan. I was gonna just commit suicide, but now I'm not. So have this extremely dangerous plant that I'd collected. And she's like, what? Okay.
I think she's more like, oh, wow, it worked.
I mean, she specifically says that she's disturbed in this moment. She's like, what the fuck? I did not realize it was that bad.
She's disturbed because of how well her plan worked.
I know, she got the plant that she wanted, for sure.
Right.
So after a while, Shallan hears shouting from the house, and she goes inside. She sees some men holding her brother Jushu, and her father is upset, saying that he's disappointed in Jushu for gambling away their money and good name when he was supposed to be taking care of their outer lands. The men say that Jushu had claimed their father would pay his debts, but their father says he won't. Jushu is then pulled away by the men, and Shallan hurries over to her brothers to beg them to do something. However, Balat just says that he doesn't have the money to pay off Yushu's debts. Shallan then rushes to their father's study, hoping to beg their father to change his mind. However, she sees pages of debt ledgers on his desk, and he tells her that he isn't going to change his mind and to leave him alone. Shallan is shocked that he shouted at her, as he never does, but he then speaks quieter and says he can't afford the debts. Her father says he will get their house into a better position, but Shallan says he's just bribing the higher-up Light Eyes. Her father gets angry, grabbing her arm and saying he's done this for her. So do you think their father would have paid off Yushu's debts if he had the money?
No.
What do you think, Darkness?
Who would have paid?
Do you think their father would have paid off
No.
the debts? No.
No.
Also, what do you think her father means by he's doing this for her?
Exactly what he said. He's doing this for her.
Like, in what sense?
For her well-being.
Do you think he's trying to, like, put their house in a better position to, like, protect her?
Hey, you said it.
What do you think, Darkness?
What part is this? What? Who's?
So she, like, mentions that he's, like, bribing all these higher-up Light Eyes to gain favor, and he's like, I'm doing this for you. So he, like, grabs her arm.
Ew. That's not very...
Fatherly? Yeah, I know. Right. Not very fatherly.
So Shallan begins to cry, and her father looks upwards, towards Mother's soul, before releasing her. He then tells her that she'll be confined to her rooms. Shallan leaves the office, crying as she worries about how much angrier her father is getting lately. Shallan hurries back to her brothers, and Balat instantly gets worried when he sees Shallan crying. He asks if their father hurt her, but she insists he didn't, and asks for his knife to trade for Yushu. He says that their brother did this to himself, but Shallan says that their father said the same thing, which makes Balat reconsider. Balat says that his knife won't be enough, but Shallan replies that she has her necklace, and Wickham silently takes out his knife as well. Shallan takes the two knives and hurries out to catch up to the carriage. Since it is pulled by Chels, it is quite slow, and she's able to pass her brother, who is walking behind it, and get to the driver. She offers the knives and her necklace, saying how fine the quality is. The man seems confused by Shallan's love for her brother, as he says he killed his own brother for cheating him. The man says that the knives and necklace are only worth half of Yushu's debt, but Shallan says that it would be a gamble to keep Yushu when the items are of real value. She also mentions how Yushu held her the night their mother died. So what do you think about Shallan saving her brother from his debts?
She needs to get a life, not help people's lives.
What do you think, Mythic?
What do I think about what now?
About Shallan trying to save Yushu from
Helping
his
people?
debts. Yeah.
About, oh, well, I mean, that's just who she is, helping people. Like, that doesn't shock me.
But why though? Like,
because that's apparently what her order does, I guess. Supposedly.
Not really.
Supposedly. You're gonna ruin this? Go ahead and ruin it for me. Tell me what it actually does.
I mean, her order is more about like personal truths and like discovering things about yourself.
Yeah, and in that vein, she somehow helps other people. What was the thing we just learned in this?
I mean, yeah, they apparently put on like plays and stuff for people with their illusions.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't think it's like a main tenet of their order,
it's
though.
Totally a main tenet. It's totally a main tenet. I don't know what I'm about.
So the man considers for a moment before giving Shallan back her necklace and releasing Yushu. He says to tell her brother to be more conservative in the future. Shallan then hurries over to her brother, who the man had obviously beaten, and tells him that their brothers traded their knives for his life. When they get back to the manor, Balat meets up with them, and Yushu cries and thanks him. She then goes back inside and up to her rooms to wait out the coming high storm. As she waits, she hears shouting, and eventually the door to her rooms open to reveal her father, and one of the maids injured on the floor behind him. He closes the door.
Injured is like lightly talking.
Yeah, she's like super fucked up.
Got a couple of bruises.
She's like crawling on the floor with like mangled limbs.
I do this to this maid so that I don't do it to you, slung.
Long.
But yeah, so he closes the door and tells Shallan that he would never hurt her, but he still needs to take his anger out on someone. Shallan knows.
No, you don't. It's called anger management.
Shallan knows it's because she disobeyed by not going to her rooms immediately after seeing Father earlier. He says that they can't be seen as weak, and Shallan just nods. Father runs his fingers through her hair before leaving. So what do you think about Shallan giving Balat and Wickham the credit for saving Yushu, even though it was her idea?
I mean, once again, in character.
I mean, this is Jasmine. This is Shallan lying, right?
Yeah, she's lying here.
No, I mean like that's
like
her thing. So.
It is her thing, yeah. What do you think about Shallan's father hurting the maids because Shallan disobeyed him and because he doesn't want to hurt her?
Well, he can't hurt her, so if he did,
I wonder why though.
If he did, she'd probably murder him. Oh wait.
So that was the end of our chapter. So I've got some overview questions. First of all, what do you think is going to happen with Elhokar's assassins now that Kaladin is more aware of them?
Well, I want him to, like I said, continue the meetings and stuff. We're talking about the three, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the people that Kaladin and Moash went to see. I'm just saying, like, now that Kaladin's like aware of the assassins, do you think they're going to be like more cautious around him, or do you think they're going to be more bold now that he knows about them? Like, do you think they're going to assume he's on their side?
Yeah, I feel like they are gonna try to use him too. I don't know if he would go through with their plans. Like, obviously, he's not gonna try to assassinate the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong, and he does. Don't laugh like that.
I will laugh however I like. What do you think, Mythic? Do you think they're gonna be either more bold or more cautious now that Kaladin knows about them?
No, I don't think they're gonna be more cautious at all. They're just gonna murder Kaladin, or attempt to murder Kaladin first.
Oh, you think they're gonna go after Kaladin as well if he doesn't work with them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Kaladin is going to speak to Dalinar about the assassins now that he knows about them?
I want him to. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I really want him to, but I don't know if he is.
Do you think the other members of Bridge 4 are going to find out about what Moash is doing?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a great confrontation.
Do you think they would agree with what Moash is doing, or do you think they'd be against Moash?
They'd be against it.
Do you agree, Mythic?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think they would want to murder her.
What do you think Shallan is going to find out about Amram while helping the Ghostbloods? Because she briefly mentioned she's already started like staking out his manor.
I'm getting flashbacks to that one dude in the hospital, so I'm like, it better not be that bad.
You're getting flashbacks to Taravangian.
That was taking people's last words or whatever.
Yeah.
What's that dude's name?
Taravangian.
Who?
Taravangian, the king of Kharbranth.
Yeah, what's with kings and doing like this crazy shit?
They got the money and the resources to get away with it.
You know what I mean? We had a king that was like murdering his maids. Now we have one that's beating his maids.
Shallan's father wasn't a king. He's just like a light lord.
The Elantrian one.
Yeah, I was talking about the Elantrian.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Shallan's dad. Also, do you think Shallan is going to find a way to get to Urithiru?
100%.
I mean, that's what she's there for.
Yeah, she's trying to figure out, but I'm just saying, like, there's obviously a lot of things happening. Like, do you think she's going to find it out, like, this book, or do you think that's going to be something for, like, the next book?
Next book. Wait, how many chapters we got left in this book?
I think we're a little over halfway through the book. We've done 675 pages, and there's about 1,300 pages. So yeah, we're about halfway through the book. I don't think, Darkus, did you answer if you think it's going to happen in this book or not?
I don't think so.
Okay. So yeah, that was all of my overview questions. Did you guys have any last thoughts or theories for these chapters?
No.
Nah.
Alright, so next week... Actually, Yeah, you're still here next week. I was gonna say that's not the week you're gone. Next week, we're doing chapter 49 to 52. Another Forge chapters.
We got like 3 more. We got like 3 more weeks before
Okay, yeah.
I leave.
I was trying to remember because I remember you talking about during D&D, and I was like, wait, no, it's definitely not next week. It's still a while away.
No, 15th to 29th.
Yeah, chapter 49 to 52 for next week. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.